We're doing it. We are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic episode. Hopefully, it will be. It's definitely going to be of the Arcadia Roundtable. This week, I'm joined by once again Burly Bird Media's Jonathan. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Feeling ready, cozy, tucked in, ready for another jolly Arcadia podcast. So yeah, let's dive in. I'm good to go.
Do you know what? Just before, so everybody, they have to know, just before we went live, Jonathan decided he was going to do an impression of me. And I must confess it was spot on. I heard myself, I saw myself, I felt my soul. I was like, wow, he's captured me. He's captured my very essence in this moment. Jonathan.
Did you feel seen?
I did. Are you willing to share it?
Always. I mean, I'm just, performing monkey. Anytime Asa is on any kind of stream, if his character is traveling somewhere, or if there's been a brief silence within either the person he's streaming with or with his interactions in chat, if there's any sort of like dead air that has to be filled, what you'll hear is a very, very distinct, the character's running and you'll just hear yum. That's every time. Now the number of times I associate that so much with our Halo, our Halo collection playthrough when we did the first game. There were so many instances where you'd like run up to a brute and just go yum and then punch him in the face. It was the best. It's the best.
Absolutely spot on, because I know that is entirely me, and I do that in real life as well. So I'll be running around, I'll be kicking people in sports, and if it's not like exhilarating enough, then I'll be making explosion noises as it happens. It just
it's
adds
great.
A little.
The fact that you're a little bit of extra flavor. I love that you also tie that to boredom. So like if you're not engaged with something, you just go, well, let's fill this with a bit of.
Have you ever watched a movie without sound effects, or played a game without sound effects?
Never, because I think that's maniac territory.
Exactly, it's not right. Same in real life.
You want to fill it.
You need sound effects. It raises it. It makes it more exciting. So that's what I'm doing for my own experience.
No, I get it. I think sound effects plural is a bit generous. I think it's
no.
one.
I do have more than one. I do.
Just...
Yeah. So you've still got learning to do. You've still got some studying to do. I do have multiple.
Okay.
But that one that you did was probably the main one.
I'll circle back.
Circle back in a couple of weeks after you've witnessed some more. Yeah. And we're joined by Amin, who is.
Yes.
Actually, something of a pillar of our little community. One of the most reliable people that we've got around. One of the most supportive people that we've got around. Known as many names: Demon Hunter, Gaming with Passion, some kind of monster, many other things. Has been my co-host on the split streams, and it's great to have around. Amin, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So yeah, I've been playing some games, a lot of games. And I'm doing good.
What did happen to your head?
Oh, yeah, I lost my hair 2 days. So.
I've never heard anyone ask about a haircut with that phrase. Explain your cranium. Crazy.
Sorry.
I got that.
Yeah. Please, promise me, wear a different outfit and just be like, your materials. Explain. It's crazy.
Why does Amin have rainbow lights? He just likes all of the colours. He's had them behind for a little while.
Oh yeah. I should maybe. You said that it is too bright, so maybe I can make a different color.
Did I?
Like that.
It's all fine by me. It moves quite quickly.
I'm not sure.
So it's a bit like, whoa, eye catching, but it's all right. You don't need to change anything on our account. It's all fine. I'm happy that you're here. Why that shape? That's just what shape the lights come, right?
Yeah, they come like that. I wanted to have them like a W. They show in the box that you can make them a W, but
you buy many sets of it.
Not true.
You need to buy multiple.
You have to have multiple. Yeah.
So that aside, what we're going to do, Amin has been on the show before, and obviously we've done split stream for actually quite a long time. We got through some entire games playing it that way and having a good old chat. So I know a lot about him, but if you're watching here, you might not necessarily know all that much. So we're going to ask him a couple of questions, like we did last week with other people when they come on, about who he is, what kind of gamer he is. We're going to start from the beginning. Amin, this is your storytelling moment. How did you get into gaming?
Oh God.
What's the story?
Oh, you will start hearing Asa making noises now.
You're like 3 sentences in, he's like, zoom.
So, what's my story? So I've been gaming since I was a kid. I don't remember what was my first game that I played. Probably FIFA or Tony Hawk or Tomb Raider, because I remember those.
A terrible start. Carry on.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I started. I always been a PC gamer, so never owned any console. Because my brother and father were like mathematicians and computer scientists, so they had computers around, and I was able to play games on them. What else? What else can I tell you about me?
Well, that's a bit of a journey, right? So you started,
Yeah.
those are all Tony Hawk's, FIFA, obviously like sporting, skating stuff, and Tomb Raider, a single player adventure. I know you more for your multiplayer games and stuff, but how have they shaped your taste? Like, what are your genres? What do you play? Who are you as a gaming person?
I play all things, but mostly FPS games. So you know that I love Counter-Strike, I love Half-Life. Yeah, hopefully Half-Life 3 someday. Yeah, I've been playing all kinds of games because I had access to games by sailing the seas, I will say, because I lived in Algeria. And yeah, I come from Algeria, so there is not a way to buy games, like a legit way to buy games. So let's say, so I played a lot of games, so I had access to a lot of them. Not online. I played online way later in like when I was 20 or something. No, when I was maybe 18. That's when I first played online.
Your competitive streak.
Played a lot of. Yeah, my first like game online was Counter Strike 1.6, but did not play it for long. My other game was GTA San Andreas. People don't know that it has an online mode, but there is a mod. You can mod it to have online, and it's very popular. Up until now, like you can find like 20,000 people playing right now online. So yeah. Any yeah. Any
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
questions?
tell me about. So you've also got on the side, on and off, gaming with passion. Your YouTube channel. What kind of stuff can people find there?
I randomly stream games that I'm interested in. I play some VR games. I play FPS games. I do mostly like walkthroughs. Like when I start a game, I finish it. Some games I did not finish, but I was like almost there because the next game came out. But mostly like live streams of video games from start to finish.
Jonathan, do you have any cutting questions for Amin?
Yeah, for sure. Given that you played predominantly on PC, were you ever in the LAN gaming scene? Like, did you ever go to any sort of like gaming meetups, bringing your PC, playing like Ethernetting the PCs together, or is it very much always like an online community thing for you?
I did play LAN, but it was a little bit boring because I was playing. So Half-Life 1 was my first LAN game. I played Half-Life 1 that match, and also I played Quake. I played also Counter-Strike 1.6.
Nice.
And why it was boring, because not everybody had a PC and they had to go to a LAN place like a cyber cafe to play. And I had the PC.
Okay.
And I had the PC and I was good at it. So I was just going there, destroying everyone and and then leaving. So
And
yeah.
that's why you coined your catchphrase, which is "I'm the best," which you like to yell frequently when we're playing many things.
I never said that.
You've never said that.
I was destroying people humbly.
I'm 20% confident that during our community session where you played as that shitty character from the finals, which is invisible with the shotgun, I'm pretty sure I heard you yell that while killing me. So I'm 20% sure that happened.
Yeah, maybe I did.
Check the tape on that, buddy.
It's definitely something of a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Good. Shall we have a little chat? The way that I like to run the show, for those that are new here, is going to be very familiar. I like to talk about games more than I like to talk about anything else, more than I like to talk about news cycles, definitely more than I like to talk about acquisitions and financials. Games is what I'm here for. So we always start talking about what we've been playing. Jonathan, I don't know what you've been playing this week. What have you been up to?
So actually, this week has been pretty quiet on the gaming front in my own time. But the big one in terms of anything we've been sharing either in our System Link podcast, what we normally now try and tie a game stream to that as well. And also just if I have snuck 5 minutes, it's been all Jump Space, baby. Is, for anyone not familiar, it's basically Space of Thieves, the equivalent of Sea of Thieves. It is in early access right now across PC and Xbox. It is a co-op PvE first-person adventure. And sees you basically crewing a intrepid ship and going across the galaxy, managing your ship. You're going on planets. You're fighting enemies. You're looting. It's great fun. Unfortunately, the Xbox version isn't currently very stable. It crashes a lot, and it's been acknowledged by the devs as a hotfix coming by the end of this weekend. But when we have been able to play it, we've been able to do sort of like hour and a half stints before we perhaps bump up against a hard crash. There is so much potential here, and the devs have already been quite reactive too. They've been reconfiguring their roadmap, splitting their team in half, so they've got people working on half their team working on stability and half on content upgrades. Just having a blast with it at the moment. And if any of you haven't seen this, it used to be called Jump Ship. There was a little legal snafu there where they had to change the name. Jump Space actually makes a lot more sense. It is awesome.
Can you tell me? So I'm familiar with Sea of Thieves, and I understand how that plays out. Right, you start on a little island, and you pick up some particular adventure. It doesn't particularly matter what that adventure is. You head out, and stuff happens as you sail the seas. And it's based around emergent gameplay was the term they always used to use because you never quite knew what was going to happen. What's the kind of gameplay loop on Jump Space? How does the session play out?
Yeah, so not less emergent. I suppose it's a little bit more handcrafted. It's mission based. So you're sort of you jump to a sector. There's a bit sort of Lilac Wars-esque with multiple routes through the sector that have different objectives. And you pick a lane essentially as you travel through it. There's procedural elements to each mission. So you might find there's like an environmental shift or a variance on an objective. But the missions themselves are handcrafted. So it's kind of a blending, I suppose, of those styles. Where it kind of evokes Sea of Thieves is in the ship management, where you're having to put out fires, which is the equivalent, obviously, was it like, plugging up leaks on the ship. Manning different stations. You have to man the weapon station. You've got the sensors, which obviously the equivalent being the periscope. The on-board ship action is very reminiscent of Sea of Thieves, but the moment-to-moment gameplay outside of that is closer to sort of like a PvE, loot, and then action game. I think that's probably closer to that for sure.
Do you encounter other players along the way, or is it just like your crew or a co-op mission? Right. Okay. So it's very.
You are on a co-op mission. Is your instance. It's always fighting against AI. There's no PvP elements at all. The devs have said they're actually not planning to add competitive multiplayer of any kind to the game. It is it's built from the ground up as a 1 to 4 player co-op game. You can play it solo. It is always online, but you can play it solo. You get a little AI buddy that helps you out, and he also mans the guns for you, even if you've got a buddy on your team. He will jump on one of those weapon stations and give you a bit of help, and then travels with you on your various adventures.
And you mentioned how like a run plays out and the moment-to-moment kind of gameplay loop. What's it got in terms of? Does it have like an overarching progression system? Do you get more powerful between runs?
Yes, you are upgrading your ship and upgrading your weapons and character abilities, etc. There's a lot of sort of customization as well in terms of how you look and what your ship looks like. You're gradually repairing your ship because you find it as a derelict, and then you sort of gradually work your way through and upgrade it, make it more, open up new areas. You can upgrade its power systems. You can have more things running at once. There's quite a few sort of systems within that, so you're having to manage things like, if you want to have like your super powerful railgun, you might have to disable a couple of systems to make sure that you're diverting power to it. So there's a lot of onboard ship management, and then the overall progression is you're unlocking essentially like components to repair your ship and progressing through the story.
So how does that play out on the co-op sense? You're inviting other players onto your ship. Like, do they get any sense of progression as well, or?
Yes, so they're leveling up their character, and it's not like there's not character abilities per se, but there's things you can unlock for that ship, and they are boxing off the progression of the missions as well. So they're not doing anything. They don't take that back to their own ship if they then play in their own instance, but they do experience the story progression and anything anything they've unlocked in terms of like any weapons they found, any loot, that does then carry back.
And if, for example, you were to invite me onto your ship, would I potentially be able to completely wreck and sabotage the mission?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
You should invite me on your ship.
I
don't want to. You have not sold me this at all.
But the sound effects.
Yeah, I think if I just mute everything and then like when we say like let's jump to warp and it's just you going zhong, just do a little bit quicker, that'd be great. Chronic in chat just tagged me saying I need to give Game with Passion a match and rematch. It's got him right in the feels. We are going to do a community session on that, so yeah, we'll get there. Tony, you guys talking about Jump Space, the one Hunter said was trash. I promise you it's not. I'm having a blast with it. To each their own, of course, but it's exactly ticking the boxes that are very much I want. Clarification.
I did not say
clarification
that.
saying it was Splitgate 2 that was not that good. Okay, cool. Lovely. There we go.
Yeah. I played only the demo of Jump Space. Played it a little bit. I also played Wild's Gate, which is similar to it, but PvE kind of.
Yeah. I played Wildgate as well. Not a fan. I found the shipboarding mechanic, like you did, they could just get into your ship with not really having to do anything, kill you, and then you respawn 20 seconds later. The ship combat as well was just like who can spam the weapons the fastest. That game really didn't land for me at all. I think Jump Space is definitely where it's at because they've refocused on co-op PvE, and it's a bit more handcrafted in that sense, which I really like.
And what about you, Amin? Do you agree with that, or do you like the other one? Wild, whatever it was.
I did not play it too much. I played it when it was it was closed beta, so it was not like fully out. Played it just a bit, so I cannot say that it's better or not. But I like the looks of what is it?
Jump
Space.
Yeah, Jump Space, not Jump Ship. Yeah, it looks good. It has like graphics similar to what is it called, Star Citizen. It's not as impressive as Star Citizen, but I like the looks of it.
In that case, unless you've got anything else you want to say on that, let's move on to what you've been playing this week.
What have I been playing? I've been playing a lot of Borderlands 4. I am almost at 100 hours of play. So
ridiculous.
Yeah, I reached level 50. I can even like 100% the game right now. Not too much left. It's a really good game. The gameplay is so good. I was skeptical about the game before it came out. I was not sure if I should buy it or not. I said that to Chronic. I even said this on this podcast like months ago when it was first shown. I was not interested, but yeah, the gameplay surprised me. It's very, very fun. I like the new addition to having a new open world, like a seamless transition and all of that. The only problem with it is the performance and the bugs. There are a lot of bugs. There are bugs where I sold some valuable items by mistake. Like I pressed like a green item, which was common. I pressed mark it as junk, and it marked another item in my inventory as junk, and I ended up selling some valuable items. Yeah, so I've been playing it, repeating some bosses. So after you finish the game, there is new game, not new game plus. There is end game. There is a new. I don't know if this is spoilers. Like there is a new skill tree. It's a new skill tree that you unlock, and you unlock a new ability that you don't have. Not an ability, like a new way to upgrade your weapons. Not your weapons, your loot. After if you find something you don't like, but it has something about it that you want to transfer to another gun, you can do that. So
Nice.
That's cool. Cool thing.
Yeah,
I
I don't
played a
think
little
that is
bit of
spoilers. I think they
Rematch.
did talk about it before, so that's all right. Rematch Season 1 has launched. You've been playing that as well, even though it's not
Yeah,
very
I
good.
played only 3 matches, and I am a bit disappointed because they did not add a lot. I feel like the game is still a little bit buggy. I don't care about achievements, but I clearly have an achievement that I should receive, and it does not trigger. I don't care a lot about that. Yeah, they did not change a lot. Like I don't know. They need to spice it up a little bit.
But if you were
I
in
saw some
charge
people
then,
are.
right? So they haven't changed enough for your liking. If you were in charge, what would you change? What's the spice that they need to add?
I think they need new, maybe movement mechanic or something. New dribble moves, maybe.
They need to take out the freaking dribble moves that are already in it. They ruin it. It's boring.
I I don't use them, but no, you don't like even like lobbing the ball
I
over someone,
hate
right?
that one. It's so cheesy. It's not because the lob itself.
No.
It's because I don't like the defense mechanics. That's what I would like to see overhauled. I like the goalkeeping. The goalkeeping works really well for me in rematch. The defending lacks physicality. It's just weird and feels shit to do.
I think, I, I think they improved it a little bit. They removed some glitch moves. So you used to like lob it and immediately as you do in the lob animation, you start doing a volley. They removed some of them, and people are a little bit pissed. I think they added crossplay, but I feel like it's a bit too late. It's a bit too late. A lot of people dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
What do
play
you
it
think,
again.
JT? What do you think about season 1, JT?
So I was obviously really excited about the finally having crossplay become a thing, which is great. Which I know was kind of in the lead up to it. 3v3 is the big change that I'm really chuffed about. That has been something I've wanted since they launched. I know we've had it in quick play, but to have a ranked version of that is really cool. I think it gives people a bit more space, especially newer players, to get their head around the mechanics and obviously mitigate some of those irritating lob moves and trying to figure out their process there. I like that. I like that it's pared down. It also means that it's more on you. I think you get better quicker playing 3v3 because you get more time on the ball. There's more reliance on you to step up, especially in as a defender. So to have that now as a recognized rank mode is very, very cool. That was a surprising addition that I'm glad they've pushed for this first season.
Yeah. Also, when you play 3v3, people pass, like not like 5v5. 5v5 is when you should pass, but they don't. And,
dude, I mean, my co-host at Burly Bird, Mike Hazelton, is one of the most affable guys that I've ever met. But you will not. He will become an angry curmudgeon. Like he will be furious anytime we play 5v5 because he's always like, just people fucking pass. Like the frustration that comes out from, and me too. Like I'm not absolving myself of that. Like I equally find that very irritating. But the more I play it, I have encountered teams where we've had the opposite problem, where like we've come up against these really slick, incredibly well coordinated teams that are absolutely leveraging the pass mechanics and actually doing that, and that's sometimes can be quite intimidating to play against. People are doing like perfect crosses to each other or switching lanes, and they're really, really accurate. There's definitely like it's a spectrum, right? There's definitely like players that just hog it, and others that do actually play it as intended. So I'm hoping that 3v3 will definitely lean towards the latter.
What I want to see them introduce is, as a defender, I want more physicality. I want to be able to crunch through other players' kneecaps, and that will encourage some passing, right? If you can just crunch through everything,
and also,
if you know that Saka's coming and you're going to die, pass the ball. Most of them much better.
Ace is coming. He's going to bowl you out.
Don't pretend that you not tackle people that don't have the ball. Don't pretend that you not.
Doesn't do anything in that game. Of course I would. Yeah, crunch through everyone, but it's like that's fine. That's fine.
I like that they added the physicality for defenders, so that when you hold down left trigger, you can like physically block the ball. I always thought that was
you should be able to physically block the player. right? Like
Yeah, well, you can jostle, but what you want to do is you want to like shatter their kneecaps.
I don't mind picking it up again. But yeah, I don't enjoy the defending.
He's saying this with your picture, like just being like, I want them to never stand.
No, I said I don't mind. Like I'm indifferent if they ever stand again or not.
Oh, okay, okay. Not as committed.
No. Now ask me.
Hey, Asa, what the hell have you been playing?
Do you know what? I've been playing Hades 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm
playing it on PC.
Yep.
I had it for like the last year or so. It came out in early access, but I don't play games in early access. I prefer to play the complete package. I adored the first Hades game, so I picked this one up in a supportive manner, but with no intention of playing it until it actually comes out, which I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I waited, because I prefer playing the games in their finished state with everything they have to offer, rather than playing it and then having to either start again or carry on a kind of bodged run later. I am probably, don't quote me on this unless you want to, in which case you can quote me on this everywhere on the internet. I'm probably the best Hades player in the world.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. Evidenced by...
Well, okay. The first Hades, I escaped on my 9th run, and I'd done 10 clears by my 19th run. I did 10 in a row.
Sure.
Yeah, which is actually pretty fucking awesome.
No, that's great. That's great.
On this one, okay, and this is like where I am with Hades 2 at the moment, right? I've done 2 runs of it, and I'm on the 3rd boss, right? Which this game is different to the first Hades in a few ways that I don't like. My initial impression of it, right, after just 2 runs, and I'm saying it's just 2 runs because that is quite significant in my take on the game so far, because the initial impression is that I don't like it as much as the first Hades. There's various things about it that I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy the combat as much. It has much more of a ranged focus that kind of makes it easier in a sense, but I don't like the feel of it as much in that way. I don't like the characters as much.
That lends itself to me, by the way, I should just say. That lends itself... I quite like the range combat in games like that, so that's interesting. There's a real flip then, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't like the characters as much. So it's a very different setup to, like, Zagreus was brilliant, and the way that he bounced off all the characters around him was really endearing and charismatic and good. The characters in this one are fine, but they're all on board with the mission, and it's just a very different dynamic. And it's not got the same like snap and charisma. But these are things that can change over time. And the thing that the game does really well, the potential that it has, that I'm hoping gets realized the more that I play it, is that essentially your moveset from Hades 1 to Hades 2 is doubled. In essence, everything that you could do in the first Hades, you can now hold down the button to do a more powerful version of it. Right, so it's not strictly true. Like there's some nuance to it, but you've got like you'd press your X button to swing your sword, or you can hold it and it becomes a more powerful attack that costs some of your mana. Same for the Y button. You can do your special. You can do this is a ranged attack by default, or you can hold it and it becomes more of a spell cast. And the same for what used to be cast. It'll put like a circle on the floor that by default just slows people down, but obviously it's got modifiers, and you hold it down to make it explode. And even the sprint, right? You used to be able to dash with the A button. You can still dash with the A button, but if you hold it down, then you dash into a sprint. So everything is essentially doubled, which doubles the canvas for the modifiers as you go through. It doubles the potential for interesting builds as you get new spells from the various gods and characters and start modifying all the things that you've got, which means potentially it could end up really taking my breath away in the late game when you start really expanding the builds beyond what you could do in Hades 1.
Yeah, is it perhaps sort of like they're playing for longevity there? That there's going to be a sort of a longer payoff to that with those mechanics?
Possibly, and it's something that like I'm just acknowledging at the moment. I don't like it as much as Hades 1, but it has the potential to win me over because it is kind of backloaded in the new features. So the things that are like separate it from the first one should pay off later rather than paying off at the start. So I'm trying to like reserve judgment for a while until I get there. I was a little bit pissed. My second run was going really well. The game arbitrarily puts, and it doesn't do it for everybody, I've discovered, but it arbitrarily puts a horrible curse on you to soft block your run so that you take a stacking damage debuff, an incoming damage debuff, room by room.
I see.
So it kind of artificially cut my second run short, even in a way that's like, that's a bit mean, but probably for the best because I'm far too good at the game, right? They need to put these things against me, otherwise the world's best Hades player is just going to blast through and never get this end game stuff. It is though, and I know, Jonathan, you were saying that you loved the first Hades and you've got some stuff to say about Hades too. It is more Hades, right? It is more Hades and it is still beautiful and it sounds so good. And
that's my angle on this, which is that actually I think your points are absolutely totally spot on. I think especially because you spent so much time with the first game, you're so invested there, that there's going to be those wrinkles and those changes that perhaps didn't land in the second one inevitably, especially if it is trying to sort of arbitrarily get you to that sort of slightly longer payoff that you're going to feel the benefit of those combined mechanics as the further you get into the game. The thing that I think actually plays to a strength of what they've done with Hades 2 is that I generally speaking, I think I've realized that I don't personally require most, if any, sequels to always have to reinvent the wheel to justify their existence. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you've got, I so believe in the if it ain't broke, don't fix it methodology. And that shouldn't, sometimes that can be conflated with like, oh, don't be ambitious then. I don't agree necessarily with the yearly Call of Duty model, which always feels like it is a bit recycling, even though those devs are on 3-year cycles. The games being annual, much like the sports titles, much like Assassin's Creed was for a while there, sometimes can breed a certain repetition where they sort of become creatively stifled. That being said, if you've got something that really works and has found an audience, I don't think necessarily, then the counter argument would be that, okay, Assassin's Creed Origins to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or, do those games always need to have some massive leap in order for them to be enjoyable? And I think Hades 2 is a classic case of that. Something that clearly resonated with an audience far greater than they had anticipated with the original title. They've secured the timed exclusivity on Switch 2. It's clearly connected with the people that really loved the first game, even if there are certain things that, like you said, that haven't quite necessarily gone the way that you expected. I don't believe that games like that need to massively reinvent themselves in order to be successful or to be enjoyable. So I'm glad to see them iterate. I'm glad to see them make iterative change, because I think sometimes that can be really interesting. I'll give you the counterpoint to this, which is that I remember Banjo-Kazooie to Banjo-Tooie was one of the best jumps of all time, because the scale of the levels increased, the splitting the characters, they added some great mechanics, but fundamentally it was more of what you loved about the original game, with lots of sort of additional ideas thrown in. Tooie to Nuts and Bolts was so egregious because it was fundamentally not the same game anymore, pitched like it was, or this being an evolution of the platformer. They even made jokes about it in the opening sequence, where you're fat Banjo collecting a bunch of musical notes, and then the Log, or whatever the main villain was called, made a joke about how, well, players don't like collectathons anymore. And I found myself yelling at the screen going, yes, we do. We bought this game because that's exactly what we wanted. And then they subverted expectations for the sake of pulling a rug out from under people. And that's where it doesn't work. That's where I think it just gets pushed too far in the other way.
Fortunately for me, I never really cared for Banjo, so that didn't hurt me at all. And Nuts and Bolts was quite interesting in a sense. I didn't play it much either. How dare I indeed? I stand on that. But just really quickly, so Wix in chat has just mentioned, has asked about the game not being on Xbox and PlayStation, and asked if that's common. It's not common, and I don't think Nintendo have paid for exclusivity or anything like that. But the first Switch in general was a really strong indie platform. It is a good platform to release indie games on, and the first Hades released in exactly the same way. It had an early access period on PC, and then it launched onto Switch and PC, and then it came to the other consoles later. Supergiant,
not something we've seen, have we?
It's rare.
Have we?
And it's what the exclusivity stuff?
As in Nintendo, sort of we've seen maybe some a few indie titles maybe launch first, and not even necessarily an exclusivity window. Just that's the platform that it's been made for, and then we get a port 3 months later.
I think maybe it's just prioritizing, they don't have enough resources to develop for all platforms, so they probably prioritize the platform that will sell the most, and that's Switch when it comes to indies. Yeah, and it's not like an exclusivity deal.
The Switch has been... people say that it doesn't have massive third-party support because it didn't have the big AAAs, but if you consider indie third-party, it was always huge for that. And it's weird because part of it is the kind of lack of curation on their store that gives indies a fair shot at getting some exposure. So whether it will carry on for the entirety of the Switch 2, I don't know. But Hades 2 is on both. It's on the first one and the second. So massive potential audience for it going there. And it will come to other platforms and be just fine when it does. Technically, it's not really doing things that the first one didn't. It's very much the same kind of rendering pipeline and all the rest of it. And it is beautiful, and the music is brilliant, and the second boss is awesome. I love the second boss. Not the first one. The first one was boring as shit, but the second boss is good fun. Yeah, no, I do. I definitely recommend it. I mean, if you like Hades, then it's a given that you'll like this as well, because it is more Hades, despite the minor quibbles that I have about things that I think the first one did better. Gonna quickly catch. We had a super chat from Gamsey, which I've temporarily lost, but I'm gonna grab it. Have a good show, gentlemen. I'll pop on to hear the answer later. But what do you think we're going to see from Insomniac Games after Wolverine? Will it be Hulk? Maybe an X-Men universe build-up? So we're going to talk more about the PlayStation State of Play in a little bit as a proper topic, and we'll get into Wolverine then at that point. But for the sake of this question, what comes afterwards? It's a little bit unfortunate that Insomniac were hacked last year, and a lot of information did come out and is established, quite well known. So things have changed a little bit in terms of their multiplayer Spider-Man game not being there, but it is a known quantity that that they are working on X-Men games, right? So there's the potential. The only thing that can really derail that is the potential of something coming first, like a Venom spin-off, which I wouldn't be surprised if we see. So my answer to that myself will be we'll probably see a Venom spin-off, and then we'll probably see build up for X-Men. I don't think they've got Hulk, but
I can throw in something I'd like to see from them, because I just think it's been a missed opportunity in the gaming space, but also I think they're the right team and with the right mechanics in terms of what we're seeing from both Spider-Man and Wolverine that would fit this property. I think a Daredevil game from Insomniac would be amazing. And I think that as a property could be that sort of street level, bring in the Punisher, bring in the Defenders. I think it would be a really interesting take on more of a brawler, not the sort of like the high swinging of Spider-Man, not the violence of Wolverine, but something that's sort of a bit more street level, or maybe even closer to like a third person shooter.
Yeah.
If they got the Punisher,
it's tonally more Sunset Overdrive, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
tonally that fits, so they could do that. You're not wrong.
I wouldn't be out of place for them, I think, if that was a segue they took. And if we're kind of building like a sort of a Marvel Games Insomniac mini universe within that's very exciting, and that has a lot of potential, I think, for sure.
But we do have a Daredevil game coming, don't we? I mean, and you're looking forward to it, aren't you?
No, Deadpool. You're confusing it.
Did I? Yeah, I'm completely messing that up. So Sunset Overdrive with Deadpool. Ignore.
I thought you were doing a bit. I genuinely thought it was a bit that I've missed there.
No, that's me confusing my heroes. Shut up, comic book nerds.
There's Deadpool VR from Neil Patrick Harris playing Deadpool, but
Daredevil's not funny.
Thought you were like,
why would that be Sunset
we're getting
Overdrive?
a Daredevil game.
Daredevil is bloody, actually, so it's not going to be anything like Sunset Overdrive. But I want them to work on, this Aesop, the Punisher.
Yes, you do.
I want someone to work on the Punisher. I love the Punisher from was it Visceral? I think it's Visceral or THQ. That was a really underrated game. It was like a Max Payne game without the bullet time. That I want someone to make it, either Insomniac, Naughty Dog, or the Coalition. Anyone with high budget, I want them to make it. If it's not a high budget and it's not good, no, I don't want that. No.
Okay, fair enough. So this actually it makes sense as a jumping off point to talk about Wolverine, because State of Play is one of the topics there. But before we do, does anybody have anything else Hades 2 related?
I'm excited to give it a go. I'd be very interested to see what this exclusivity window is going to look like. I think, given what we were talking about earlier, it will be very telling for what Nintendo are sort of focusing on it, or indeed what we're going to see potentially from more indies, is to see how long this will take. And given, we'll get to it obviously from Tokyo with the Forza Horizon 6 announcement, confirmed to be a timed exclusive on Xbox PC before the PS5 release. Indiana Jones was like 4 months. I don't know if there's a consistent cadence yet of titles that are first-party Xbox titles before they hit multi-platform, if they're new releases now moving forward as opposed to older ports. I think establishing that cadence could be really interesting because, like, I was expecting South of Midnight, for instance, to jump across to PlayStation within sort of 6 months to a year, and we're within sort of 6 months now of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing like most games outside of maybe Nintendo first party, obviously, but we'd see most games being like some form of timed exclusivity, and just what that looks like, whether there is going to be sort of a standard cadence for that, or if it's going to be like case by case, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe Hades will release, like, I think it's very smart from them to release the Xbox and PlayStation version on Game Awards Day, like a shadow drop, because it will show up there. People that are watching will see it, so probably it's a good idea to drop it that date.
You can probably look to the past to see what they're doing now, because everything about this release has very much mirrored what they did with the first one. So I expect they're mirroring for the kind of the gap as well. I don't know if that might have dropped on a, like you say, on a Game Awards kind of day or something like that. I think it might have gone into Game Pass when it did come, but yeah, I think the landscape for them is probably pretty similar to what it was when they did the first Hades. I think they are enjoying the success of doing the same strategy again, so they'll probably stick with it. I'd say look to the past to see what the plan is for the future for that particular instance. Let's talk about Wolverine then and the state of play, but we might as well, because you're talking about the Punisher, right? And the Punisher is a particularly gory IP. You'd expect if there was to be a Punisher game, an awful lot of blood and guts. One of the things that came up when Wolverine was revealed by Insomniac in the first instance was a whole load of sweaty comic book nerds like ourselves, who don't know the difference between Daredevil and Deadpool, coming forwards and saying, well, I really hope that this is super gory, because Wolverine's not supposed to be like he is in the X-Men films. It's supposed to be nasty. He's supposed to be dismembering everyone. He's supposed to be disemboweling everyone. These claws are supposed to rip through flesh. I want to see blood. I want to see guts, or I'm not going to be satisfied. It can't be anything like Spider-Man. He's too nice. And the trailer that they just showed seemed like a very direct response to that particular concern some people had, because it was like pretty much the sole feature of it was look how bloody and gory it is, right? Jonathan, did you enjoy the trailer? What did you take from it?
Yeah, I thought it was a really strong statement of intent from them, not only addressing that sort of concern, I suppose would be a reasonable way of describing that, the sort of the going in, people's perception of it, they were sort of worried that it was going to be some sort of like toned down or tame version of that property, but they, I think, have dispelled that almost immediately. Definitely hints as well. I really was surprised by the Mystique reveal in that, to have that so early in the first gameplay trailer. I wondered if that might be something they hold back for something in the future, but if those prior leaks we addressed are anything to be believed, you know, they are working towards some kind of shared universe here, perhaps focusing on the X-Men. I think one thing I really, really liked was the confirmation that Liam McIntyre is playing Logan, who is the star of he took over the Spartacus role in the TV series, but also probably to gamers, people know him as JD Phoenix from Gears of Wars 4 and 5. I really like this. He's a nice bloke. He's a lovely gent, and someone I've had the pleasure of interviewing in the past. And I'm thrilled for him that he's got this role. He is such a great mocap actor and voice actor. He is perfect for the physicality. He's just the right age, I think, as well, just that little bit older, but not so much that he couldn't do any of this sort of like high octane sort of physicality and mocap, etc. It's just really nice to see them sort of lean. There's definitely a visual style that's consistent with the Spider-Man games, but I think mechanically it has differed itself in really smart ways. That slightly pulled in camera, the transition between some of the fight sequences and using the environment a bit more close up, I think really suits the brawler nature of the character. This really connected with me. I think this is a really strong statement. We've seen a bit of a wonky few months from PlayStation. Both Xbox and PlayStation have suffered with various things, whether it's to do with marketing, project cancellations, endless discourse around profitability of studios and subscription services, etc. And we didn't really know. We knew a lot that would sort of, some stuff hadn't even been announced that had the plug pulled, if reports to be believed. So the state of PlayStation's first party beyond Ghost of Yotei was kind of a bit muddy. We didn't really know what was ahead. this has now planted a really great flag for the end of 26. I think it's going to be their marquee title for next year. And yeah, I was really impressed. I think it completely allays any fears that this is going to be some softer version of this title. I think they are absolutely leaning into the source material. They're being faithful to the character. And ultimately, I think it will, I believe it will deliver exactly the kind of visceral and very, very heavy experience that they are pitching it as, that they are shooting for right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you love blood.
Yes.
You love the Punisher.
Yes.
You're all about it. You want a vigilante that's just tearing, walking around street level, random civilians at pedestrian crossings, just ripping them to pieces. That's what you're after. Does Wolverine do that for you?
So yeah, it does. I was expecting it to be bloody a little bit, but not as bloody as they showed. It's like more. It's like I'm watching Mortal Kombat like trailer. You can see in parts of the trailer like flesh torn off, and you can see the skeleton of someone. Like it's so gory, and I like it. I really like it. I'm very interested to see how, like Skill and Panache mentioned, that maybe it will not be open world and it will be more linear. I think there will be a little bit of exploration. I'm interested to see how they do that with Wolverine. Probably they will do something like God of War Ragnarok, which is like open like areas, like you have
Open
some
sandbox
areas that
kind
are
of-
open. Yeah. Because I think I was watching one podcast, I don't know which one, and they mentioned that in the leaks you had like a motorcycle. And they showed that a little bit in the trailer. You have a motorcycle too. I don't know where you go with that motorcycle. It's probably just a small.
It's going to be like Gotham Knights. It's going to be like the glider that made us stop playing that game entirely. We're like, yes, we've got a glider to fast travel on the map. You fuck.
Maybe they do that, or they did shit. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I will certainly play it. Certainly.
Mm-hmm. I'm obviously definitely going to play it as well. Very much respect Insomniac and like both of the Spider-Man games, like Sunset Overdrive as well. I will say, for me, the trailer, the emphasis on gore and having people come up on stage to talk about the blood system and stuff is like, I'm not squeamish. I don't care that it's in there, but you likened it to Mortal Kombat, and I don't like the Mortal Kombat games. And in the Mortal Kombat games, I always feel that's like gore has been their identity for the entirety of that series, right? They don't, to me, play particularly well or have a lot else going for them, and they have their success off the back of having blood on the Super Nintendo. Well, not on the Super Nintendo because it had to be green on there, right? But it was a significant thing back in the day. Was like, wow, this fighting game has blood in it. It's the best thing ever, and it was freaking awful, and it has remained kind of freaking awful forever. And it has these really grim, like bollock smashing, skull crushing, weird moves mid combat that don't actually make me want to play it anymore. Right? They don't upset me. I'm not like, oh no, it's too bloody. But they don't enhance it in any way either. They just lean on it too much for me. And I look at this trailer and I'm like, well, this trailer it's definitely leaning on the gore more than I care for. Like, I hope that they don't get distracted by this need to make it like mature, because it's not mature, right? It's just blood. But it's Insomniac, right? And every other game that they've done recently has been freaking awesome. They have a lot of pressure to make it freaking awesome. They have a lot of pressure from Sony. They have a lot of pressure from Marvel. So realistically, there's probably gonna be a fantastic game there. Yeah, so that's not to bring any negativity to it. It's just that particular facet. It's just like, I'm indifferent to the blood. So show me more of the other stuff. Show me more of the other, like, how it plays out.
I wonder if it was sort of like constructed this way as a marketing beat, because this has been so long. We'd had that terrible leak of theirs where they sort of, that really awful off-cam footage that made its way online. I think in some ways this was about sort of resetting expectations and also having a clear mandate for what the game's going to be. And then I think inevitably when we get that story trailer, or if I could imagine at the Game Awards we could see like a bit more narrative context. that's where they'd be able to maybe pick and choose those moments a little more. This, I think, was very carefully edited as a re-reveal of this game. Given that we hadn't seen anything in-engine gameplay or otherwise since the CG teaser, like this was it, other than the leak. So it was definitely the right thing for them to do in this instance. But I hear you. I think you don't necessarily want this to be much like Mortal Kombat is, which is what that game is, and that's fine. But I don't think necessarily it should be defined simply by its dismemberment or its gore systems. You would hope there'd be a bit more meat on the bone, pun intended, because otherwise it's just not going to have the sticking power or the narrative investment that we had in all 3 Spider-Man games from them so far.
Yeah, it's just it's not even a concern because I don't think that they're going to fall into this trap by any stretch. But just from this trailer, I'm like, oh, it's actually going to get really tiring just executing everybody in this way. Like a random pedestrian that I just feel like attacking right now. I'm not going to knock you out. I'm going to rip your head off, tear your arm off, stab you through the skull. Maybe the fight will continue from there. Maybe it won't.
Not sure.
I never get tired of that. I love it in Doom, so I love it.
That's a good example, right? I love it in Doom, but Doom has so much going for it, and this I expect will have so much going for it. It's just that the trailer evokes Mortal Kombat, and I don't like Mortal Kombat. That's the only thing, right? Have more, and it will have more. I'm sure it will have more. I'm confident it will have more. So then we also had at the same Sony State of Play their other first-party game for 2026, and you can say so. Jonathan, you were saying that like they've put down a strong flag for a marquee title for next year. I hear mixed things on whether they're doing enough for next year or not, because Sony have had in terms of their first-party, a relatively dry spell since the PlayStation 5 launched, right? It launched pretty strong. They had game after game after game for the first 2 or 3 years, and then it's been a bit quieter since. Now we're looking at 2 titles for next year that we know of, or that I can think of off the top of my head, which is Wolverine and Saros. But Saros looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Are you a Returnal fan? Jonathan, we'll go to you first. You're a Returnal fan, and what are you thinking of the Saros trailer that you've seen so far?
I loved Returnal. In fact, I think Housemarque's acquisition by Sony is one of the best things they could have ever done. I'm so glad that team has some semblance of security now, like some financial stability, because there was a minute there like that they had a couple of smaller releases that didn't land. This was before the acquisition and before Returnal. There's a couple of games that didn't find much of an audience, and they were probably a little bit on the bubble. Then they got the Returnal contract, and that game just sung. I thought it was a fantastic release. This actually looks this to me feels very much like that iterative sequel, even though it's not a direct sequel, it's its own IP. But mechanically, it feels very iterative and very familiar. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it just looks really polished, giving its own story. Another shout out to another lovely human being, by the way, Raoul Cowley, who's playing the lead in this game. It was from Midnight Mass, if anyone, or iZombie, if any of you are familiar with those 2 shows. I think this landed really well. And had that very signature Housemarque style of sort of like the very arcade battle enemies and the weaponry you have to sort of dodge at the right time. The sort of slow ring based energy weapons and stuff. It just really, really clicked. It looks fantastic. I think it's gonna be another hit for them. So this being a sort of spring title, and then Wolverine in the fall will be a nice 1-2 punch for them next year.
So I like. I'm a massive fraud in saying this, but I loved Returnal. I didn't finish Returnal. So this is where I'm a massive fraud, right? I loved how responsive it felt. And I loved the, it's like particle art. It really sings on a screen.
It's the detail, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to just witness, and it feels brilliant to play. It's so responsive, so snappy, so satisfying. And just, there's colours flying everywhere, and I love that about it. This is obviously
both. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I think this feels like them playing to their strengths, and I'm always like, more power to a developer doing that. Like, take Hazelight, Joseph Fares' Hazelight with A Way Out, It Takes Two, Split Fiction. Each one with their own identity, each one experimenting with mechanics and keeping things fresh every level. But at its core, they are mandated co-op, third-person co-op games, and that plays to their strength. So give Housemarque the scope and maybe a slightly bigger budget to go and do that, and everyone wins. It's a really smart investment from Sony to have this team under their first party banner, and we're seeing now the fruits of that. This being their second major title for this gen after Returnal. So yeah, I'm thrilled. I think this was probably the highlight of the show for me, actually. I think I had one other thing I wanted to throw in, Deus Ex Remastered, which I'm a big fan of that series. I've always been a bit dubious of Asper as a developer, as a port house, because we've seen some like the Star Wars Clone Wars game with
the Old Republic.
Yeah, and of course that being the sort of most high profile one that's
there's nowhere,
lost in the ether somewhere. So always a bit nervous when I see the name pop up, especially when it's a beloved game like Deus Ex, which is one of my all-time favorites. But nice to see that game make its reappearance at a PlayStation show. I think that's really cool, and maybe an indicator as well that Eidos Montreal will get their finger out their arse and make another one. But yeah, but in terms of like what really like getting the deep dive on Saros, I think was really cool, and having the really explicit look at it was it definitely landed for me. This was definitely a highlight of the show for sure.
I mean, do you have an affinity with Returnal? Have you played it? Are you looking forward to Saros? What do you think?
No, I did not play it. I would like to play it. I do have it on PS Plus, but I just can't play this on a controller. I can't. I need to play it on PC.
I have to have it on a controller. Like those games.
No,
I
can't.
They sing on a controller.
No, I'm not good with the controller. I have to play it with mouse and keyboard. Maybe I'll pick it up next because I finished Borderland and I need a new game. So maybe I'll pick up Returnal and I'll play it on PC.
You can see Joe's in there, Gaming Crypto's in there with you saying mouse and keyboard for the win. Like mouse and keyboard obviously has massive advantages, but this game is tuned for a controller, so you're just cheating yourself. Just cheating yourself.
Built for the DualSense, baby.
No, I don't know if it even works because I have not used it in ages.
That's really cool, by the way. Shout out to Tom in chat just saying that Returnal's made him go back and drop into old Housemarque titles recently. Those games don't get old. Yeah, I mean, incredible. Dead Nation, just one of the best. Loved that game.
I never heard of them until.
Dude, they're so
probably
Dead Nation, Alienation. I mean, the Alienation was one of my favorites. I played a lot of that local co-op with some friends of mine, and there was one. I want to say it was Next Machina or something, possibly. I think that was a title they made that again didn't quite find an audience, but mechanically was really really interesting. So I'm glad that they've kind of they've resurged now under Sony, that they've got they've got their sort of financial security and they're able to make the games they're good at. So.
Did they release games on PC before or? Maybe they did not. Maybe that's why I never.
They worked with Sony for what was their PS3 one? I can't remember what it's called.
Dead Nation.
Resogun. I'm thinking of Resogun. That was them, right?
Oh, Resogun was a PS4 launch title, wasn't it?
So they worked with Sony with some exclusives ahead of that as well.
They've done that
acquired.
A lot. Yeah. They were second party effectively for them for the longest time.
Yeah, which is why has not necessarily seen much of their stuff, but.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything. Yeah. We'll play it. I'm not super excited for Saros until I play Returnal.
No, I'll do it in the near future because it is a gorgeous, gorgeous game. Even if you have to play it on easy mode with a keyboard and mouse, it's fine. We won't judge you too hard. So,
even if you have to sort of undermine the creative intent by playing it on a keyboard and mouse, I get it.
You do you. That's fine, as long as you're enjoying yourself. Let's have. Was there anything else from the Sony state of play? Obviously, they sandwiched it with Saros and Wolverine, right? So their first-party games at the beginning and end. But there was some third-party stuff in the middle. Was there anything that jumped out for you?
I was hoping that GT7 Gran Turismo comes to PC, but no. Surprisingly, we have Flight Simulator coming to PS5 and PSVR. The PSVR bit is very surprising, so that's interesting. I will not play it, but other than that, I don't. Battle.
Yeah, we got the good campaign look, didn't we? Just on with Flight Sim, it is so funny to me that like a bit like Indiana Jones getting a PS5 Pro version, and like the best place to play that Microsoft timed exclusive is on a PS5 Pro. Right, or PC, obviously, but like in terms of console gaming, and I love the idea that like the Xbox version of that game doesn't support VR, but the PlayStation version does. And for a game like that, VR I think is purpose built for that kind of experience. So it's just fascinating. We're living in the weirdest timeline right now. This gen has been weird, and that is definitely an example of that for sure.
I'm surprised that Microsoft let them work on PSVR 2, which is like a dead platform. Like not a lot of sales there. I'm not sure. Yeah, Battlefield 6. I'm very excited for the campaign. I'm probably going to play it only for the campaign. I'll play a little bit of like multiplayer, but mainly the campaign. That's what I will be doing. I'll probably just subscribe to EA Play and play it on there. But yeah, are you excited for the single player, JT?
Yeah, the last Battlefield game I really enjoyed the single player was Bad Company. I had a blast playing those games. And then following that, it pretty much had always been multiplayer for me. Battlefield has always been defined by that, from 1943 right the way through to Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1. And seeing this trailer, actually, it was nice to see the emphasis they put on it, and they're clearly treating it like it matters, which is something that I think we haven't seen from Battlefield in a long time. I'm hoping they're going to go the Titanfall 2 route and keep it nice and short. Just a short and sweet, really polished, really set-piece heavy campaign that will very much tick boxes for me, for sure.
I really liked the campaign of 3 and 4. So those were really good. Yeah, I like a tactical single player campaign. I like that. I do like that.
So there's been rumors spreading around that the campaign is not looking as good as the trailer at the moment. But hopefully, like, rumors don't count for much, right? We'll ignore those for the time being and see what it's like when it comes out. But I saw an interesting thing about it where someone said, I think it was Tom Henderson said that at the moment Battlefield 6 is looking like a kind of really high scoring game for the multiplayer alone, but if you add in the campaign, then the score drops to a 7 out of 10 or something, and that's a really like what's the word, it's a bad thing for review scores in general that they would work like that. They do in a sense work like that, but the very concept that by adding a mode you bring the entire package down somehow is just defies logic. And highlights a real problem.
For me.
It is disingenuous. It highlights a real problem with review scores in general. But
just the way you're critically appraising a game, I just don't think that's a reasonable way to do that. It also just doesn't seem that likely that you would have this that the multiplayer mode would be incredible and that the single player would be so underwhelming that it would then bring the score down that much. You might dock it a point, but you turn it from a 9 to an 8 maybe. But like putting it down to a 6 or 7 just seems. Yeah, I don't
even then, like the idea of taking a score down because some extra content, like if you give it a higher score without that content, is a conceptually weird.
Yeah, especially if that's the conversation. If you're taking it as a whole package, treating it as one thing, score it based on everything you've played, as opposed to this part that I've now experienced first is a 10 or a 9, but because I've now added this into consideration, I'm now bringing it to a 6. That seems odd.
Yeah, and the whole thing is like you can't not account for the flaws when you're doing a review, but it just highlights how that whole thing is quite challenging to get right. You mentioned, you were talking about Flight Sim there as well, which is kind of interesting because Flight Sim supports VR on the PC, but Asobo has a battle for that. Microsoft don't like supporting VR in their games, and they won't let me have it in Forza, and I hate them for it, and I will always hate them, and I've been writing them letters every day for the last 8 years now saying give me VR in my Forza games, because can you imagine Forza Horizon with VR? I would play it every day forever.
Forza Horizon 5 in like first-person VR would be a treat, like an actual treat. And we're getting 6. I know we haven't got to Tokyo Game Show yet, but we're getting 6. It's a timed exclusive. It's set ready. Does that mean? Do you think we see PSVR support for that? I know we're segueing a bit,
we won't. But the thing with Flight Sim is Asobo had to battle for it, right? It was the number one most requested fan feature for the Flight Simulator game, not the most recent one, but the one before. So they had to battle for it to get support from Microsoft to be able to bring it to the PC version. And it is really cool that support is going to carry over to the PlayStation version.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a nice thing. I know VR is niche and not many people have it, but the people that have that headset have been stuck playing Gran Turismo for a long time now. So give them something else. It'll be nice. Gran Turismo's incredible in VR as well. And like Amin says, it would have been cool to see that on PC. But c'est la vie, we're not getting that. Or at least we don't appear to be. So we've done those. We've done the PlayStation ones. We can hold back. There was a little bit of obvious talk about
Wait.
what it means to.
Wait,
Whoa, whoa,
wait.
whoa, whoa,
We-
whoa, whoa!
We
whoa.
forgot about the most
Calm
important
down.
announcement.
The speakers. Yeah. Okay. Nobody said they're getting the speakers.
Sure.
I will probably buy them if they are good because I play on monitors which don't have speakers. So
one thing I will
maybe.
say about them is they're almost certainly going to be good, right? Just having the
Yeah.
plain non-magnetic speakers, they're probably going to be high quality things. But who uses speakers these days, like in a PC setup? I guess it's nice to get the headset off every now and again. It is nice. This thing's heavy on my head. I'd quite like to take it off. But yeah, I won't be getting them. But you think you might? Even we haven't seen the price yet, have we?
I need to see the reviews. That's the most important part. Yeah, I know that they will probably be good. I have a lot of Sony's audio stuff, so they are good. I'm using the XM5 now, which are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will end up good. I think it will end up fairly pricey as well, just because of what they are. But fine. It was a little bit disconcerting the amount of time that they gave to them because they're just speakers. They're speakers. Get them off the showcase. It's a 35-minute showcase.
It's a press release, isn't it? Like it's a blog post. It's not
yeah, move on. But there we go. We got it. It was there. It was at the showcase. Everybody has seen them. Everybody's talking about them. Talk of the internet. Everybody wants these speakers, which is a good opportunity. Actually, before we get onto the Xbox show, then we're talking about expensive hardware. Let's talk about the latest handheld device. The Xbox ROG Ally X and the standard one have been officially priced across the universe, and are. It's hard to say they're selling well because we don't know the quantities available, but they are selling out. So it's at least not completely flopping. It's at least meeting and exceeding expectations for it on the pre-order market. It is, I can't fucking remember. It's 500 quid for the base one, and I think 900 for the X, right? Or is it 800 or 900?
Yeah,
800.
800.
I think.
Oh,
Let me
bargain.
go to.
quick live fact check on that.
Yeah, we'll double check. We'll get the dollar price as well for our American friends. I'm sure they already know better than I do.
Dollars, it's $5.99 for the ROG Xbox Ally, and then $9.99 for the Xbox Ally X. That's US dollars.
Yeah, and what's the pounds?
Let's find that out.
And quick disclaimer: the reason I don't know this is because I don't. It's not a device that I'm going to get myself because I'm not a handheld kind of person. So I haven't followed it too closely. But it is a point of interest for other people, including Amin, who is a Steam Deck owner and may be tempted by the latest and greatest of Windows handhelds, be it as it may.
It is $499 for the ROG Xbox Ally,
yep.
And then the Xbox Ally X is $799.
$799, so the 800 quid. There we go. Were you expected more or less? I mean, are you interested in buying it at that price?
So it's a complicated question because I don't need it. I already have a Steam Deck and I'm satisfied with that. If I did not have a Steam Deck, I would buy the expensive one, or I would even go to the Lenovo one. But I already have a Steam Deck.
Do you use your Steam Deck?
Yeah, I do use it. I use it whenever I'm traveling. I play older games. If the game is new and is supposed to be really good looking, I'll not play it on a handheld. Even if I had the Lenovo one, I'll play it on my PC with the good screen and OLED and all of that. But sometimes I just stream my PC, so I can stream my PC, my Xbox, and my PlayStation to my Steam Deck. All of it. So if I'm not feeling like sitting at a desk playing a game, I will just do that, and that's all I need. And I also use it for cloud gaming. But if I did not have a Steam Deck, I would buy maybe the ROG Xbox Ally X. The price is what I expected. I don't think it's supposed to be less than that because PCs are expensive and it's a handheld, and that are more expensive.
Prices comparatively compared to the Lenovo ones that Luke was talking about last week, is actually a fair amount cheaper, isn't it? Like, it's not. I'm not saying it's a cheap device and everyone should go, wow, this is an impulse buy. I'm going to get it for my colleague for Christmas, Secret Santa gift, right? It's not that kind of level of cheap, but it could be worse.
I'd go a step further there. I was expecting it to be more expensive than that. I was expecting it to be maybe like $599 for the base and then like $899. I was expecting 100 quid more, I think. So I think it's reasonable for what you're getting for that's actually a decent price. Me personally, I just treated myself to, for the first time, a proper gaming PC, which is an absolute monster. So I'm good. Like I got my Switch 2 earlier this year. So I'm good on the hardware front. I think for PC gaming, I'm going to be here at the desk. Not to say it's something that I don't look at if there's like a version 2, towards the start of next gen. All the rumors around Xbox having a one console SKU and a handheld SKU of some kind, even if it's a partner device like this. So yeah, I think the price is actually pretty reasonable for it, to be fair, given what you're getting for it. But for me personally, I won't be picking one up this year, just because I'm kind of set on the hardware front.
So I don't particularly handheld game, and if I were going to, it is an interesting price point, because when I was looking at the potential, the lineup of Windows handhelds available, I said last week, like, if I were going to pick one up, it would be that Lenovo one that Luke's got, because that looks like the premium one with the features that I care about if I were playing on a handheld, which I'm not going to. But this one is undercutting that Lenovo price by enough that actually it would probably make sense to at least consider it, depending on situation and stuff like that. I want to quickly get... Lutrons has just said something that's a little bit interesting. I'm curious on your take on this. It wasn't one of the topics that I had in mind, but it is a thing that has... It's an interesting little talking point, I think, which is another thing that came out of the State of Play, I think, or there or thereabouts. Bungie merchandise tied to in-game progress, in-game achievements. So they've got... I might be missing a beat on this, but my understanding of it is that if you unlock certain achievements, accomplishments within Destiny 2, then you become eligible to buy certain merchandise in real life, a t-shirt and a pin badge and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, I did see this. It's sort of like it's tied to in-game achievement, to you being given the option of obviously picking something up if you want to.
Indeed.
I thought it was just Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yoti. I did not know that. Dustin. So I know that it's Ghost of Tsushima and Yoti.
So
and I think you need
right?
the platinum. Yeah, I think you need the platinum.
But that detail aside then, so maybe it's something that's only going to be bring to more games going forward. It's just a concept that they want as a way to get a little bit of extra cash. So Bungie did it some time ago, and Ghost was recently announced, is what Lutrons is saying. Is that cynical, nasty, corpo money grabbing, or is it quite a cool little concept? Where do you land with it?
I'm
either.
It's fine as a concept. You could ignore it. If you think it's something that's a bit egregious or perhaps doesn't equate to your value. I think as an idea, I sort of maybe like, it could be interesting, I suppose, if they sort of lean into the discount side. So like, is it that if you achieve certain things in the game, that gives you access to a lower price on existing items? I don't know whether that would be perhaps create too much of an inequality. But the idea of being able to access exclusive merchandise based on your in-game activity, I think that's a cool concept. And I would want it to be very much treated as an optional thing. Like, I don't want that to be tied to,
mandatory. You beat this raid boss, you must buy this t-shirt and wear it every Sunday.
Your debit card will be charged. I think we want to avoid that entirely. But I suppose in the sense of like, if it was certain items that would have like amiibo, for instance. So if you were a collector, I wouldn't want something like that to be tied to in-game achievement, or you being able to buy it to be tied to that, because all that is doing is needlessly restricting something. Which I think is unreasonable. If it's something that's entirely sort of like bespoke, kind of unique little thing, or a variant of a product, like you can get it, but you can get like a slightly alternative design or color scheme if you complete the in-game activity. I think that's absolutely fine.
I mean, what do you reckon?
I like it as well. I'm not a fan of doing achievements or achievement hunting, but I do find it's like a good reward. Like if you don't care about it, like JT said, you can just ignore it. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
You got your platinum, like always. But yeah, I think if you got a platinum, you probably love that game, unless you're one of the weird guys that's platinum Barbie. Then you will feel rewarded to like buy the get like a merchandise of your favorite game. I would, if I see a game that I really love, let's say Doom, I would probably platinum just to buy the merchandise for it.
Yeah, I kind of land in the same place. I actually think it is quite a cool concept. I think for a long time people have looked at achievements and things and wanted something tangible,
something more tangible. Yeah, I agree.
And like, yes, you have to pay for it, but it is more tangible, and it is rather than like the meta game that achievements and PlayStation trophies and all that kind of stuff work towards, where it's a meta game of keeping you on the platform to get a broad array of points across an array of titles. This is more there for people that have their thing that they're into, to like get a badge to show off, essentially. Like I did a lot of Destiny, I get to have this special t-shirt or whatever. I am really good at Ghost of Yotai, I get to get a freaking katana. It's not a katana, I don't know what the reward is, but that kind of thing conceptually, I think it's kind of cool. I have mixed feelings on achievements in general. When they first came out on the Xbox, I was like, this is cool. It's nice to have a meta system to make it, like, to track your progression in the way that you could play a singular game and get addicted to its progression system. To have a meta one that works across the platform was a pretty cool idea. And then over time, it became more and more apparent that actually this is just a hook to keep me here, and it's not hooking very hard anymore. And I went off them, and now like you get games structured around it where you're doing stuff that's not fun because there's achievement points tied to it. And at that point, I was like, actually, I've been hoodwinked. This isn't working out for me. Why am I farming these pumpkins? I'm not doing it anymore. And I'd move on and like just play the bits of games that I enjoy more, rather than fall for the achievements and stuff. But to have that tangible reward as an option, I have no complaints about it, honestly.
Yeah. So. Can we talk a little bit more about the handheld? I wanted to say, so the higher one, the X version, the higher tier handheld, that one is deserves that price. That they said $1,000, but the lower tier one without the X, I don't think that deserves $600 price, because on paper, some people are saying that matches the Steam Deck performance, and the Steam Deck is way cheaper than that. And you can get an OLED version of the Steam Deck for that price, or lower than that price. So yeah,
I guess part of that, obviously there will be I'd imagine there will be other handhelds that have the same chipset, right? So the relative price of it will make more sense when more of them hit the market, and we can see if I'd be surprised if they're gouging on price, though, because that one is the entry level model that they're trying to keep down and get to more people. But we'll see.
So that's just to note, it's on paper the performance is the same as the Steam Deck, but it's a new one that we never seen before. It's an APU that we did not see before. So I will be interested to see the comparison in reviews and all of that.
Certainly when it's out in the wild, I'd look forward to like a Digital Foundry breakdown of that, equating the innards with the value and what that's, what that's looked like in terms of cost. The unified storefront and that sort of iteration on their UI is really cool to see them focus on that. I think it's also very telling that that's where they're going to put a lot of their focus going into next generation. You don't lay all this groundwork now for that not to pay off in a couple of years' time. If we're anticipating 2027 as being sort of either the release year or at least certainly the unveiling of what's next. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I know that for me, it's not particularly a necessary day one purchase, but I definitely am looking at it. I'm using my Switch 2 a lot more handheld than I did with Switch 1. Switch 1 I was almost exclusively docked because the Joy-Cons are so shit. So I'm using my Switch 2 much more handheld, and therefore there is scope, I think, to look at the PC side. It's just at the moment with what I've bought, I don't particularly want to take it hand. I don't really have a usage for that yet. But it's whether that evolves in a year's time, 18 months time, and kind of to check in with myself and see where I'm at.
Weirdly for me, the thing that's the closest to appealing with the handhelds is probably the cheaper one, and probably the potential of running GeForce Now on it. So using it as a handheld for indie games if the need arises, but docking it on the TV in the other room if my wife decides she wants to play a high-end PC game over GeForce Now or something like that. It's not the only way to get GeForce Now. Modern TVs have it included. You can get a Shield that's cheaper, but the device starts to get a little bit more utility when you start looking a little bit outside the box on what it can and can't do. And there might be, I'm not going to get one, but it's closer to fitting in when you start considering things like that.
But you can do that with the Steam Deck. So
that's
Steam
true.
Deck, even the LCD version, which is right now Steam Deck is 20% off. I don't know how they can do that.
Would you like to pop your affiliate link into chat?
No, I will sell mine.
Yeah, that's not a bad chat there. Yes, you can do that with the Steam Deck. You can. So let's talk about then. Before we get onto our community questions, we'll talk about the Xbox showcase that happened as well. Mm-hmm. It was obviously its biggest kind of reveal moment. Was unfortunately something we already knew about going into it, which is always a shame because it could have been a show that made more waves than it did if we didn't already know that Forza Horizon 6 was going to be set in Japan. We love the Forza Horizon series. Everybody does. How can you not? On the occasions that it actually works and lets you into a multiplayer game, it's brilliant. So, Jonathan, start with Forza, but actually you can pick anything that you want to talk about from the Xbox showcase. What did you think of it all?
Yeah, so it's just, I think we said this last week, actually, that the notion of these platform holders treating any of these events with the kind of significance, we've seen it with Gamescom, we've seen it now with TGS. It's just nice to see them show up, right? Forza was kind of a known quantity in that sense, but nice to see them choose that place to announce it, given that its chosen location being Japan. The most interesting part, I think, is the fact that they're not going day and date across platforms. They are going to stick with it as an Xbox and PC exclusive to potentially be a sort of Game Pass subscription driver. I think that's the play, I think, for them. That is the one that makes the most sense, is that they get their early adopters. They basically handle all three aspects of this really smartly, which is that they're satiating their current subscribers by adding value to their current sub. They're attracting new subscribers because it's Xbox and PC only, and PC is the growth market. And then 6 months to a year later, they get the follow-up hit of it being a full price release on PlayStation. And given that 6 of the 10 games that were most, the highest selling games on PlayStation a few months back were Microsoft published titles, they would be silly not to continue forging ahead with that process. It protects the value of their console ecosystem, so that even though that market is stagnating, 30 million people still bought a Series X or S this gen. That's still a large audience. There's clearly a place there, and obviously PC Game Pass is where they've seen the significant growth. So I think it makes a world of sense. I think that it's a great setting for that series, and I'm not surprised now that Forza Motorsport, in its sort of recruit, I would class Horizon as the mainline series now that Motorsport has kind of been sunsetted. It's just really cool to see them push for this. And have this be announced here. I thought that was a nice choice by them, and a good show of intent from Microsoft.
Indeed, yes, I don't disagree with that. Do you have Game Pass?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yes.
Just checking, because the thing that's interesting about that strategy and the idea of leveraging this title to bring people across to Xbox as an ecosystem is they kind of undermine it a little by releasing it on Steam, right? Because a large portion of the PC base do buy it on Steam, and that is not Microsoft's platform. It's a curious one that they do that, and obviously they want good relations with Valve, especially if they want Steam on their next console, handheld devices, and all the rest of it. I was just wondering, because I didn't actually know if you have Game Pass or if you are like one of those staunch Steam Valve heads that insists on buying everything on Steam regardless of where else you can get hold of it. No, so you do have Game Pass.
If a game is on Game Pass, I'll play it on Game Pass. There are a few occasions where I buy it, even if it is on Game Pass, like Doom: The Dark Ages or Rematch, because I know that I would play it forever, even when they remove it.
You're not playing Rematch
from
forever.
Game
Behave
Pass.
yourself. Come on.
Yeah, it will be there forever, even when Rocket League dies. So take that.
Oh no, my
So,
feelings.
So I do buy sometimes games on Steam, but I'm not like, oh, I would buy it on Steam because I hate Game Pass or anything like that. I bought an Xbox, so I said that I am a PC gamer. When I moved here to Poland, I was not able to get a PC immediately, so I had to buy a console. And I bought an Xbox, which was my first console that I bought just because of Game Pass. So, yeah.
Oh, and you never learnt to use a controller, even in those circumstances. What a sad tale this is. The Xbox showcase in general, then. Forza Horizon 6, we saw a little bit more of like Ninja Gaiden, saw some other bits and pieces there. Anything that jumped out for you? Anything exciting, or was that one more of a meh?
I want to express my feelings regarding Forza. It's fucking boring. It's soulless and boring. I like the graphics.
Motorsport's soulless, but come on, Horizon's jolly.
No, look, there is no story. Do you even pay attention to the story of Forza?
What driving game are you following for the story?
Yeah, at what point am I going on Gran Turismo? Get me invested in those character arcs. Like, that is crazy, dude.
Look, I grew up playing Need for Speed, and Need for Speed at least was trying. And they were not corny. They were not corny. Not too corny.
I'm just going to slowly turn. My full body's going to rotate, so I'm maximum skeptical. So I'm like going to be over here now. But I mean, those live action cutscenes and they're getting Maggie Q to be in a Need for Speed game is the definition of corny.
Her, but yeah, I don't know. It was at least.
They got Aaron Paul. They wheeled in Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad to be in a Need for Speed game. Corny. Like, my God. They are not. Absolutely not.
That was Payback. Yeah. I did not play Payback. It was... Okay. I find, like, Horizon a bit... It lacks soul. It's, like, empty, I feel. Like, I don't know. It doesn't have a personality. It just drives well and looks good. That's what I say.
Heaven forbid, right?
I mean, that's kind of what most people want from a racing game. But I feel like, at least from the series inception, its Horizon Festival thing, I would say was like the opposite of what you're saying. It was a mood and an atmosphere and a character that this series had. I would say that it's perhaps worn a little bit thin by the fifth one, and it feels a little bit more hollow now than it did when it started. But for you, this is, I think, the first one that you got into. So I'm surprised that you don't...
I played 4 and I played 5. I played 4 and 5. My brother also tried Forza for the first time. He tried 4 and he also found it dull. And Tom agrees with me, so at least there is someone that's...
It's funny though, because in like the racing scene, so you've got like Gran Turismo's career structure. It's a brilliant game, especially in VR, but its career structure is dire, right? It's you go to a little cafe with these menus of races that you have to do, and there's a profile picture of someone called like Lou or something who looks like he's got a gun pointed to his head with a really awkward smile, telling you about some cars. And there's like a certain amount of love and car enthusiasm in it that you can appreciate, but it is sterile. It's very sterile as a game. Forza Motorsport used to be a little bit more peppy. I think when the Xbox 360 one that came out, I think number 5, wasn't particularly good, but it had a little bit of pep, and it had like the Top Gear track and a little bit of attitude, and it was quite nice, but it was dry. It is a simulation game, was supposed to be like arcade sim, whatever you want in that argument. And then in the PC space, you've got things like Project Cars and the new one of them that's coming soon, and Assetto Corsa and R Factor and things like that, like the hardcore sims and stuff. But there aren't really many racing games that have this personality that you're looking for. Like, there's not like, okay,
Need for Speed,
but that's ancient, right? That's dead, and they don't make them anymore. So what's actually on this podium for you now?
Unbound was good.
No, it
I
wasn't.
really loved Unbound.
No, it wasn't.
It was good. It was good. I really loved it.
No, it had even the sort of graffiti like artwork style was like
Yes, and there
neat.
was a
I
story.
appreciate the
That was a
angle.
neat. There was a story in it, so I will concede the fact that there was one, but I don't know if it was anything anyone was in any way invested in whatsoever.
Like Forza, you just play to race, and that's fine for people. But I want
And
a
that sentence
little
there,
bit.
and that sentence
Yeah.
there, they play to race, and it's fine for people. Full stop.
So Tom shouted out there. So Tom actually agrees with you, by the way, which is wild. Nobody should agree with you. But Tom's pointing out there that he likes games like Need for Speed and Split Second and stuff. And there is something to be said for games that have that like more curated track.
Yes. So I will shout out to Split Second. There's a game with a bit of like gumption and a bit of a unique spin behind it. Burnout is the gold standard for me always. Burnout 3, Takedown, and Burnout Revenge are two of my absolute favorites in that series. And actually, funnily enough, I think Burnout Paradise then, when it went open world, that was when it lost a little bit of its identity, I think, in many ways. But I do think there's space for that. He actually referenced Pure in there as well. Blur is another one I really enjoyed.
Blur was really good.
Blur was one I really really liked, and I think those kind of games which have personality in their style without relying on sort of like shoehorning a story into a racing game, I think those are the ones that really click and that endure. Burnout Revenge, sorry, when it added the traffic checking, I always struggle with because it sort of eliminated the same direction traffic as a threat. But Burnout 3 Takedown is like gold standard. I mean, it's amazing. That's a game with real personality behind it.
Yeah.
And I do think, in some ways, I think Horizon does evoke some of those older games. In some ways, at least for me, I just the sense of freedom and speed and the graphical fidelity, all those things are just a big box tick for me.
It is like I appreciate that it is a bit looser though as an experience. Like most of the tracks are pretty wide, and there is a lot of repetition of like stretches of road that you've already done. And it is broad and big, and not that. Like the tracks aren't really tightly, intricately designed, as it were, because it's just an open map that you've got tracks drawn onto. So there is room for these older kind of games that you were talking about. I would say that. I'll agree with you to that extent. I mean, and no more, no further. That's our compromise. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I'll just say this and we can move on because of time.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to playing it and seeing the horrible episode 13 tracks.
Oh my goodness. This is why you don't like Forza Horizon games, because episode 13 put the lap counter too high. Oh, we all died a death. Right. Let's move on to our community questions. That's a good idea. We'll get onto those. Move the topic on so that we can wrap up and you can go on to the things that you need to do. So the first one, completely unanticipated question from Tom. He says, evening, folks. Completely unanticipated question. What's not to like? Jonathan.
So I'm generally not a big fan of story in racing games. I find that really tricky. But what is not to like? I'm feeling pretty positive this week, generally speaking. Jump Space is connected. I'd say, okay. I have one, which is unrealistic expectations for games in early access. That is something I will throw out there. I have tried a little recent game called Macabre, which is a Kickstarter game that we got access to. We're very fortunate to have spoken to the devs, and it's still very early. It's just launched in early access. They've adjusted their pricing as well. They had to adjust their price. I don't think it's reasonable for people to expect those games to be finished. I just think that's antithetical to what early access is supposed to be. And sometimes I think if I'm gonna be specific to something not to like, the discourse around early access games can sometimes feel a little bit harsh at times. Push the developers to fix things and encourage them to add stuff that you think that makes sense. But I think sometimes some of the discourse I see across like Steam reviews or on social media can sometimes skew a little bit unfairly negative, and I found that a little bit boring to read this week for a number of titles.
Early access, like we could probably have quite a long conversation about that, so we won't. But you can understand both sides of it because you are paying money for a product, so you can understand but yeah, I mean,
go
it's
in
been
knowing
used
what
in
you're
such
paying
different
for.
ways. Yeah. It's quite a big one, so I won't open that can of worms too far. We'll let that single worm wriggle around, and we'll go on to Amin. Amin, what's not to like?
Forza. What else? Forza is not too much. I don't know. I don't have a lot of negative things to say about gaming right now.
It doesn't need to be gaming. It's
is,
just what's not to like. It's a broad and open question, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't have something bad to say. No.
It's nice. I'm going to agree with you and say Forza.
Maybe
Microsoft not replying to my letters about the VR support in Forza.
Yeah,
That's not to like.
Maybe just the state of the world and politics and all of that. I don't like it right now.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's again, could do a many episode podcast on the state of the world and politics. We're not going to do that right now. But yes, that's fine. Put it out there. That's what the question's all about. Right, the next one is already up. Let's go for Lutrons. How do you guys feel about the ingenious/evil scheme? Oh, we actually kind of already covered it. Of Sony allowing you to buy a sweet pin or graphic tee for the trophies that you've earned. We all liked it. I think Lutrons has gone now as well, but we did cover this and talk about it already. We all like it. Everybody's a fan. We wish we were good enough at Ghost of Yotai and Destiny and all of the other games to be able to get some sweet merch. The next one comes with a trailer for the best stuff from Minecraft Live. I'm going to bring that up right now. Hold on. It's on bollocks. It's on the wrong computer. Let me see how I can get that. Here we go. It's opening. If either of you two have a chance to watch the best parts of it, they're coming up now. I've seen little bits of this. So Minecraft Live happened today about 6 o'clock. So right an hour before. 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that. Like an hour before we went live. They're introducing new stuff. I was privy to some of this. I saw some of this on a car journey. And my biggest takeaway from Minecraft Live and from what I saw of the studio and developers was actually that Mojang seemed really nice. Right, all the people involved seem really genuine and sincere and seem to love what they do. And that's what shines through. And it's like it's not a given because they're owned by Microsoft now. So for like any kind of company culture to survive that is definitely like it's not guaranteed by any stretch. So to see all of these people talking about what they're doing and just the way they're recording sounds for their like copper golems and all this kind of stuff, and just loving what they're doing did actually shine through and make me think, that's nice actually. That's it is genuinely like this is not feeling like corpo slime. And I like that about
but
it.
maybe it is. I'm a bit cynical. I think maybe they do that because it's just like kids will watch this as well, so maybe they're just
that's no bad
little
thing.
bit of acting.
Pitch your audience, right? Like that's
It definitely is, and you definitely have an element of production to it. Like it's well put together, so there is some corpo behind it. But and you get it. It's not just Minecraft. It's not just like what that IP is. You'll see it across other games. Like you'll see Larian talking about Baldur's Gate, and you can see the passion that they had when they were making that game. And if you capture that and let developers that feel that way develop, then you end up with good things. It's like the best part of the industry when it comes together like that. And it is ultimately a money-driven industry, and it's often not that way. Like realistically, most developers are people going to work. They want to do these things, but they are people going to work who are pointed in a particular direction to do particular things. And it just seems very sincere. So I liked that about it, actually. Can't say a lot about the specific features that were in that trailer just then, but that was my take from it. Jonathan, you don't care for Minecraft, do you?
No, I don't really have much of a history with Minecraft. However, my stepdaughter loves it. I know, obviously, it's just a phenomenon that keeps on giving. She'll be very excited to see this, and she'll give me the full briefing, I'm sure.
And I mean, have you done any of it?
I played like a little bit, but not too much. I don't know what is even the first recipe to make a sword. No.
Yeah, it's not, for me, it's not quite structured. It's like, It kind of pioneered
I wish it
survival
was like Palworld.
genre. Like it is, like it deserves some respect for that. It's not just the creative stuff that you see or the educational stuff that you see. Like it's not just building fancy castles. It did do a lot that a lot of other people have aped and copied. But I do struggle with the lack of structure myself because of the lack of attention span that I've got. So yeah. And I don't like the way that it looks, honestly. Some people do, I really don't. But there we go. If you want to know more about that, I've insisted that Isla comes and tells us about it herself on Tuesday because she's very enthusiastic. So on Q&A, so hopefully I get a little call in and she can tell us what's actually good about it. But she's going to destroy... She's talking to Amin. She's going to destroy Amin. Amin, you should probably be a little bit scared. Just...
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
That's good. I can feel that fear.
Oh, that was actually conveniently, as we do need to wrap up for. What is it that you're doing at 9 o'clock, Jonathan?
So I will be getting prepped for. We're going to be kicking off another Birdie Bird live stream tonight. We're going to be doing a double bill, playing both the rematch and the finals. And actually, I'm going to announce this here. I'm going to say this here because I haven't actually announced it in my own Discord yet. Stephen Murray, who is the voice of the DJ from Knockout City, is officially going to become our second co-host for Birdie Bird Live. So he is now actually joining Birdie Bird officially as part of the team, part of the crew.
Nice.
He is a lovely human being, very, very talented voice actor, continuing to work. And I am just really chuffed to be sort of expanding slightly our crew and sort of officially, he's basically been part of the crew for the last couple of months already. So we're just kind of formalizing it and just saying, well, no, he's now going to be an official co-host. So
that's awesome. I've had brief encounters with him. He seems a lovely chap. So that's good.
He's one of the good ones. He's a really genuine bloke. So
yeah, I teamed up with him to annoy JT and Mongoose. The community session.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, look, I made no secret of the fact that I was like an obsessed Knockout City fan. Like it's one of my biggest heartbreaks this gen that game got sunsetted, and I did an interview with him. It was one of our Some Drivel interviews, and that's what led to our own podcast. We have a spin-off podcast show. We do a performing arts podcast called Dulcet Tones, and now obviously he's joined us properly as part of Burly Bird, which is really cool. So
that is really cool. While we're on that, as your outro, have you got anything else that you want to say to people?
It is just to say, just once again, and it does bear repeating, it is important to express how grateful I am to be part of this community and to be on the show again, part of Round Table, speaking with you both tonight. I've always felt so incredibly welcome, and it's something that I will certainly not take for granted because I know how so many spaces on the internet, I think we forget sometimes actually that it takes actual work to cultivate a community that's this welcoming, and that's obviously led from yourself, Acer, and all the way through to the people involved. So just grateful to be here, grateful to be part of the community, and also to make sure that we don't get complacent. You know, this should be protected. Communities like Arcadia and Burly Bird, etc. So it's been a blast. Thank you both for having me on, and hopefully the first of many to come.
Yeah, you are not wrong at all, and it will be the first of many to come. Something's popping up. It's you. I mean, don't stick your own little celebratory messages up when it's time for your outro. I'll catch that in a minute. For now,
I did not say anything.
You didn't. So no, you just clicked a button. It's all right. That's good. That would have been awkward. I mean, thank you for coming on and talking to us. Very short notice as well. So, say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I'm also grateful that part of this community, and thank you for having me in this podcast with JT. It was fun to talk to JT. I always watch his streams. Just thank you. Thank you, the viewers, for supporting Asa, and that's all I have to say.
So for me, I hear both of you say thanks, and I say take that thanks and shove it up your ass, because there is no community without the likes of you. So actually, I thank everyone, both of you and everyone that is here, as you always are, people that are in the Discord. It's not a community if it's just me trying to pretend to be nice. It's a community because of all of you lot. So thank you very much, everybody involved in it. It is appreciated, and you all are. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, I might play some Hades 2 this evening, or I'll think about it. I'll let you know in Discord. Tomorrow could potentially have a little afternoon VR. We'll try and shoot for some of that. was supposed to do it on Thursday, and it was a freaking disaster. Everything went wrong, but hopefully it won't be a freaking disaster next time. We'll get some games of that played, and the usual runner content will be going through next week as well. Hopefully some videos.
Oh, Tom with the super chat right at the end. Look at that. That's amazing.
I did not catch that. Thank you for pointing that out. It is the legendary Tom, another big part of the community, says, agreed with the hard work on welcoming and nice communities. Cheers, Asa. Again, Tom, shove it up your ass. In the nicest sense, you're a big part of the community yourself. So
I rescind
thanks.
everything that I've said.
To be fair, Tom will appreciate that. So that's fine. I know he will. So thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next time.
See you. Bye.